Hello from the land of TV. This is King Cool, and I have a somewhat atypical rant to get into right here. Someone I watch on YouTube just had his personal information leaked to the internet. So now people know his real name and his city of where he lives. I don't know if it's the actual address or not, but I haven't obviously looked at it. And this guy, formerly operated, pseudonymously, as was his choice. But it's alleged that someone who he had a feud with found his docs, searched for them for months, is what they say. I guess finally found them, and has retaliated by putting them on the internet, so that now everyone knows his real name, if they so hope to know. Now, okay, at this point, this is a guy who at least has a somewhat reasonable fear of being retaliated against by the people whom he speaks out against on his YouTube channel. That is a legitimate concern. But even if, let's say that concern was a flight of fancy, it would still be within his rights to remain, anonymous, if he so choose for whatever reason. Even if it's just because he didn't like his first name. I don't want anyone on here calling me Burgertron or whatever. It's Bergeron. But, so, this guy, and again, I'm going to refrain from naming the opponent either, despite the fact that I find his behavior absolutely repellent. I'm going to refrain from naming him because, as far as I am aware, he hasn't yet taken credit for him, or there has not yet been conclusive evidence to demonstrate that he's done it. And I figure I may as well operate under the assumption that he could be innocent of this, innocent until proven guilty. With what I'm going to accuse him of after this fact, I don't want to be unfair. But here's the thing: what was the goal of this action? What was the main thing? It's like, okay, this guy has some controversial opinions, allegedly controversial opinions to some people. When I say controversial, it's the opinion that someone doesn't like, not that it's actually controversial, like the moon is made of cheese or whatever. It's not controversial like that. It's controversial only in the sense that some people think it's controversial because they don't like it, because they disagree, which is not really the same thing. But on the other hand, what did this guy do? But there is a subset of people who might just retaliate against this individual for these opinions, and he has a legitimate reason to fear this. So this guy who did this gave out this information not so he could be judged by his peers or whatever, because he can be judged by his peers through what he says on his YouTube thing. But they put out his personal information. It seems the only explanation that I can see is so that way he could be retaliated against by nutjobs who would want to do him harm because of what he says. What he wants to accomplish by this, the only thing I can see, and someone can feel free to counter me, the only thing he is, to be held accountable, would to be held accountable with his life? If some lunatic just goes and shoots him or something, or whatever? This action is indefensible as far as I can tell. Because what they want is to inspire people that, hey, if you say something against us, you might be harmed. Now, how many times have we seen this throughout history? We saw it with friggin' Salman Rushdie in friggin' 1988 or whatever with the Satanic Verses, and we saw it with other examples. Am I going? Yeah, I am. Other examples, like in the Danish cartoon controversy. From 5-6 years ago, which I used to draw editorial cartoons at the time in the school paper, and so that issue was a real sore spot for me. Someone still alive? I heard a roar. Weird. Whatever. Leaving you behind. So I almost put a thing in the paper which was just my name and my address or whatever, and just be like, hey, do your worst, basically bite me, you won't intimidate me, because when we allow them to intimidate us, we give them everything they want. We cannot be intimidated by thugs because that's all they have. And once we let them intimidate us and let us change the way we live, then it will never stop. It will never end. Because then once we give them power, they'll want more. and they know that they can influence things, so they'll keep trying. You know, the more we capitulate to anyone, any lunatic who tries to change things with a gun, or with a knife, or with a bomb, or whatever, we make it worse for everyone who lives past that, which is why that's why the official thing is they'd never negotiate with terrorists at all. So, like, I sort of wish we could just have, you know, because here's the thing. You could find my real name. You could find pictures of me and video of me if you so wanted to. You know, if that was what you wanted, you could... I'm going to pick up these health things. You could find that if you wanted to. Because my real name isn't a secret. My real name's not King Cool, but that's what I call myself. Because it's the internet. We all have to have names like that. But the thing is, like... So am I, now that I know that I guess I could be a target, am I going to have to censor what I say just in case there's some lunatic out there? Or wouldn't it be better if we could just live with the notion that, yeah, my name could be out there, but thankfully, since no respectable person would ever do this, would ever actually take up arms and do this, there's no need. The problem is we don't live in a place like that. We live in the regular world, where there sadly are psychotics who will harm someone for what they believe, you know. And this, you know, as I've said, I'm not naming any. This is I'm trying to be completely general with this because it could be anything. Okay, do still have a, yeah. So, you know, the problem is not that. But in order for this guy to have done this, to have revealed his information, I believe is absolutely contrary to the YouTube community guidelines. Like, I'm going to read it right now while I try to kill this guy. Things like predatory behavior, stalking, threats, harassment, intimidation, invading privacy, revealing other people's personal information, and inciting others to commit violent acts or to violate the terms of use are taken very seriously. Anyone caught doing these things may be permanently banned from YouTube. Alright. If we can come up with the conclusive evidence, as most people sort of take it on faith that this guy has done this, I mean, you know, if he was going to lose his account, they would pretty much have to prove it. I'm not certain how they would do it, but if we demonstrate that this guy did do what he is accused of, he should not be on YouTube anymore. This man should be kicked off of YouTube permanently, basically. This is... You know, if this doesn't happen and he is allowed to continue, even if they acknowledge that he did this, then what is the point of the YouTube guidelines? They're meaningless. If that someone like this can get away with this. Now, before I go, I want to share some controversial opinions that I have. And if any of you feel like being a lunatic and just going and trying to have bad things happen to me because of it, I suppose I can't stop you. But, you know, I hope that most rational people won't even blink an eye. Following controversial opinions held by me, I didn't like The Social Network. I hated it, in fact. I don't think Angelina Jolie is attractive. I liked When in Rome. I don't care what anyone says. I hate cilantro. It tastes like dirt. I got a steak at a steakhouse in Boston, and I was like, bleh, bleh. Why does the thing taste crappy? It's like, oh, that must be the cilantro. Gah. I'm a proponent of the death penalty. You know, despite its problems. I am a proponent of medical marijuana, but I'm not a proponent of just everyone smoking up all the time, and the fact that people who do it seem to be the ones who are slowing down the thing with, you know, people just toking up, and then people, you know, it hurts the legit medical marijuana thing, because, like, it has legitimate medical use. It'll make people who have, you know, chemotherapy or whatever able to eat. That's a legit use, and we can't get past it because people just want to go get high. Fuck you guys. I'll go out right there and say that. If you can't have fun in this century without getting high, screw you. Alright? Okay, that was a bit of a tangent. Nevertheless, these guys, like, if you ever feel the need to retaliate against someone because of what they say on YouTube, take a breath, go get a coffee, drink, and then don't do it. Like, if we actually, you know, if they find out this guy's real information, I hope, if I were the one who found it, or if it came to my mailbox, I wouldn't be able to release it, because then I would just be a hypocrite. And I sort of hope that's sort of what happens. As much as I don't want this coward to continue to operate anonymously, what I hope is that he's taken off of YouTube if they demonstrate that he did this, and then he can continue to have his anonymous and ignominious life wherever he is, and he can just go have sex with a fence or something, basically. Anyway, that's it from me. This is King Cool, and please drive home safe. It'll be a little hard this time.